Microphone check.
Good morning, FS Check.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. We are live. And I think we have a very, very interesting morning session ahead.
Absolutely. So
yeah, I think one of the biggest differences we have in comparison to yesterday will be the weather. I mean, yesterday we said it multiple times, great weather conditions, especially in the late afternoon, where we can also drive the manual disciplines, SKIDPAD and acceleration, like today also. But we had 25 degrees, sun out, everything, and now we actually see rain and still some water on the track. That's weird. But what can we expect today?
today we still have SKIDPAD and acceleration for manual runs since same like yesterday in the afternoon session, although today we don't have any driverless anymore. Driverless disciplines have already been done completely in the past 2 days. So for now, the focus is on the human drivers, how they perform, how the cars perform, and today with the SKIDPAD and acceleration. It is the second session with these two disciplines, but we still have a lot of runs left to do for today. If I counted correctly, yesterday we saw a bunch of axle runs, a good 30 axle runs, and a good 26 SKIDPAD runs. But given that we have, as of now, 20 teams which have passed all the scrutinierings up until the brake test and are ready to go, and each team has 4 runs for each discipline in total, we might see a lot of runs today. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will also see many, many more teams passing the brake test today on the area a bit behind us. So we hope to see more than these 20 teams that are ready now. And I guess with the 3-hour session and a lot of runs to do, we will have a busy day, hopefully. And the first team is already in preparation for their start. And I see a couple of cars moving towards the axle and SKIDPAD area as well. So we're starting good.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we have a lot of action in front of us. We see car number 85, so the Delft team, at the starting line of the acceleration. So they will probably be the first ones that set a run, like a timing today. The acceleration track actually looks not that bad in comparison. On SKIDPAD we actually have some water on the track, but on acceleration it's looking good. So yeah, what do you think we can expect also now from Delft? I mean, they put on some lap times yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, they did put some lap times on yesterday for the acceleration. Although I bet they are not entirely happy with those lap times from yesterday. So they will definitely try to improve. The question is how much they can improve, given that, as far as I know, they only work with rear-wheel drive at the moment. They don't have all of their 4 engines working. Like, as most electric teams, they do have 1 motor in each wheel, which gives them a lot of power and a lot of opportunities to optimize the torque distribution to really get the most performance out of the car. But obviously, if not all of those motors are operational, it will be a limit, especially in a discipline like acceleration, where it basically comes down to pure power, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I don't think this is different for them this day, because they said to us also they will only have this finished for FSG, like having all 4-wheel drive. So yeah, I think they will go through the whole competition with only 2 motors in the rear working. But yeah, nevertheless, I think for SKIDPAD, it will be interesting to see if they can actually improve or not, because rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive is not that important in SKIDPAD, at least in comparison to acceleration. But yeah.
They actually did a decent time in SKIDPAD yesterday already, with an average of roughly just about under in the one run and a bit over 5 seconds, which if I scroll through the timings from yesterday is quite a decent time. Definitely beaten by Tallinn, which are more in the 4.76 range compared to the 5 seconds-ish time from Delft yesterday. But definitely, yeah, in SKIDPAD you can do a lot also with just rear-wheel drive.
Yeah. And below the 5 seconds mark, not many teams were below the 5 seconds. And I think the time from Tallinn will actually, if we think about it, with the current conditions, with what was going on yesterday, I think will stand for a long time, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now with the weather condition, it is quite cold, 14 degrees Celsius. So this will affect the tires a bit, this will affect the tarmac a bit, lower the grip conditions on track. And for something like acceleration, where you need to get off the line fast, or for SKIDPAD, which is just about cornering, this is a significant factor.
And in the meantime, I think we see car number C21 also preparing. One of the 4 cars actually that has passed scrutineering. So I think we see also a lot of cars currently still stuck in the scrutineering.
Yes, as I said, 20 cars have passed everything out of the in total 67 cars that we have here at the competition. So there's still a lot of room for more teams to come here, but I've heard that the scrutineering here is quite strict, and also for a lot of teams it is the first competition that they attend to in this season, which generally means they come with their new car, fresh team members, and need to figure out how scrutineering works a bit, and need to get ready for the smoothest scrutineering process. Because scrutineering is kind of its own discipline. You don't get points for it, but you do need to prepare, and it's something that you can do either very well, and then you end up on track early, ready to get points, or you take it a bit slower, and then the situation is like it is now, where we have a lot of teams still stuck in scrutineering.
Yeah, this is one of the things where you just need to get into the rhythm, and also get some routine set up for the scrutineering itself to just get through it pretty quickly. And this just takes time. And if it's the first event, it's more than natural that we see a lot of teams also struggling. In the meantime, we see the Delft car moving to the basically second stage, where now also the RFID chip of the driver gets checked, and then they're good to go.
And from this stage on, the team must be able to start the run within a very short time. So at this stage, there's not much work going on the car, and it's not allowed to work anything on the car anymore. So they just check the driver to see if he's really strapped in properly and safely, and then they turn on the car when they get the signal from the check marshals, and then they are ready to go and go to the start line for the 75 meters acceleration.
Yeah, and we also directly see the Zurich car pulling up to the first run line of the acceleration. One of the cars that we didn't saw yesterday driving manually. I mean, we saw them driving in the driverless disciplines, but one of the teams that just couldn't manage it in time yesterday to also profit from the good conditions we had yesterday. But we see Delft going through the starting line, to the starting line, for the first run of the day. Off we go. Looking good.
Definitely looked like a rear-wheel drive attempt. We are used to faster times from Delft, but as we already mentioned, it is a bit earlier in the season, and many teams have some kind of issues on the car.
Yeah, and it's also
perfectly normal and will be remedied for the next competition, I'm sure.
And it's also an improvement. Even under these conditions, improvement 4.78 seconds. That's good. And I think they are not going directly for the last run. They're going to this exit. Maybe they are still adjusting some things and then coming back with an even better time. Team is applauding, but it could also be that they just want to go through post-scrutineering. We also saw a lot of teams yesterday struggling. Yeah, and one of the team members is actually giving a thumbs up on this one. So they are going through post-scrutineering just to see if the car is legal, and then probably go for the last run if everything is correct.
Speaking of post-scrutineering, what are they typically checking in post-scrutineering, and why do we do it?
So there are multiple things that get checked. We spoke yesterday also about the IMD that gets checked specifically for electric cars. But also what's important here is ground clearance. This is one of the typical things that get checked. Also aerodynamic boxes. We don't know specifically what was the problem yesterday for Delft. We can find that out, and maybe our outside reporter is actually on it right now to just get some info. But yeah. This has to do with also safety. You want to have like a very, very safe car. And you need to approve basically that before and after the race everything is correct, especially the safety relevant features.
And we can also see car E33 from Zurich being checked by the scrutineers before the run. So there's a lot of checking going on. We're speaking about checking and scrutineering a lot here at FSCZ. There's the big scrutineering before the teams are allowed to run in the first place. Then there's the scrutineering in the line towards the acceleration event here, where they check last safety critical issues to ensure the driver's safety during the run. And then, as Christian said, there's the inspection after this discipline, after the run, to check whether still everything is right, and also everything regarding performance is good.
So we will quickly switch over to Jonas on the outside reporter stage to give us his impression.
Yeah, Christian, you were completely right. TU Delft, they were the last car yesterday attempting the acceleration event, and they didn't get through the post-scrutineering, unfortunately for them. The scrutineers found some fluids on their car, so yeah, for them it was just to make sure that they get a run in quickly and early today. Additionally to that, I heard that there were some new guidelines or stricter guidelines released on the interlocking mechanism on the interlocking cables for the hub motors, to align all of them. Those were communicated with the teams yesterday evening, and there was something that Delft also had to fix in the line in preparation for acceleration here. That's why it took a couple of minutes longer, but considering that they started early, wasn't big of an issue for them. So now, their first acceleration run in the morning and hopefully getting through post-scrutineering now.
Yeah, that would be very, very good. I mean, they were successful also in Switzerland, and I think if they can compete here in every discipline, finish endurance, I think they're also up for a good position. In the meantime, we saw the car from Zurich also getting checked, like the checks we just described. Ground clearance check, everything looks good. No discussions ongoing, so I think they will just move to the second stage now, get the driver checked, and then get sent.
In the meantime, while the Zurich car is getting prepared for the run, we can have a quick look on the test track where I see the car from Karlsruhe, E76 on the track. I saw him do some acceleration practices just now. So I guess they're also preparing their control systems. They're adapting to the track conditions here to see how they can get the maximum performance from there. Looks quite promising, I would say. And at the same time, car E29 from Stuttgart has been pushed in front of the stage across us and is moving towards the SKIDPAD. So hopefully we will also see the first SKIDPAD run of the day quite soon.
Yeah, we are directly going for it. I mean, yesterday we didn't see a lot of track action in the beginning, but now it's completely changing, probably also because of the rain that is potentially coming later in the session. And just teams need time, right? They need to get in a lot of runs. So yeah, hopefully this continues. And to the viewers in the stream, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. We're happy to answer them anytime.
Since we already saw some beautiful cars, like the AMZ car, I quite like it. Delft car always looking good, and Stuttgart, the Ren team car, always a good contender for good looks. We do have a poll in the chat for what is your preferred livery, what's your favorite livery of the cars here. If you see your favorite already, just enter it in the poll, and we're really excited to see which kind of liveries you guys like.
We see TU Delft celebrating. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, good run. Improvement over yesterday. The run today was a 4.78 under those track conditions. That is, I think it's a testament to their control systems, which seem to be quite good. To still on it. Although, as we already said a couple of minutes ago, the axle track itself looks quite good. There are a few puddles next to it, but the track itself looks relatively dry.
Yeah, most puddles seem to be collected away from the track. But I have to admit, I'm still really excited to see how the track will develop over the day. They have 3 hours to really burn in the track. Teams are laying rubber, and possibly if there are any puddles we cannot see, they will be moved away and cleared for future teams.
For maybe the case when there's new rain, this would be interesting. Maybe this is also a reason why the teams are trying to get their first runs in early today, before any potential rain might come up. Depending on which weather forecast you ask, we might see some rain, or we might get lucky and stay dry. And we can see that the AMZ car now is blinking red. This is the tractive system active light at the top of the main hoop that you can see blinking here, and that indicates to everyone around the car that the car is electrically ready to move, and you need to pay extra attention around the car and be really cautious to not get run over by the car. And it's now precisely staged at the start line.
The green flag is a go. Really looking really quick there with very noisy gearboxes.
Yeah, I think that's a typical AMZ feature. I remember that from many other competitions, that they have this high frequency, almost whistling car. That I remember in some year it sounded very interesting when it was going at a slow speed and just being pushed around, and even some scrutineers were throwing some weird glances at the car because of the noises it made. Only at the higher speeds now, it makes these really high-pitched noises to indicate, I don't know, to me it indicates the power of these cars.
The time has come in. AMZ did a 3.77 seconds. A really strong first time. It will be exciting to see how they decided to push their second lap. This initial run placing them at P6. You also had a good point about how the weather will develop. You never know about different weather forecasts, but for example, one I just found claims there might be rain in only 15 minutes. So that'll be exciting to see about the teams waiting in the queue for acceleration and SKIDPAD today.
Yeah, if it does, then everyone coming out now did actually make the proper choice here. It's a bit like in some other racing series. The weather forecast is something to be monitored on many days. And while we're talking here, we see that the AMZ car is still standing somewhere in the exit area of the acceleration track. There seemed to be some technical problem on the car. Usually the car drives the acceleration, then brakes, slows down, and comes back under its own power just in one go. But the AMZ car kind of stopped and turned off its tractive system after the acceleration run, and now they seem to have some trouble reactivating it. And I can see the team members now walking towards the car with the push bar. So it seems like the car is not able to restart.
Do you reckon they might have tripped their brake over travel system?
Definitely this might be one issue, one potential problem. Also, it might have to do something with regenerative braking. Since it happened at the end of the acceleration, I mean, the acceleration is generally quite hard on the powertrain in all regards. So you can have some error condition during the run since you're drawing so much power and also going to high speeds and high RPMs, and this is sometimes a bit tricky for the inverters and for the motors, which, by the way, are completely safe developed for AMZ. It's a relatively unique feature that not many cars have, especially the self-developed motors. But they're really, really powerful, small, compact beasts, these motors.
Meanwhile, we also have a car E76 now entering the pretty much almost on track for acceleration. They're getting ready for their first run. Also on stream, we see car C21 jacked up. This is for the pre-inspection for SKIDPAD, by the looks of it.
And as of now, the AMZ car is being pushed off the track, and the Karlsruhe car is moving towards the pre-inspect car, and the Karlsruhe car are lined up next to each other. Already the attempt from Delft, and Delft already had 2 attempts yesterday, so this will be their 4th and last one for the acceleration. And this also means that if both cars are ready at the same time, then Karlsruhe with the first run would be given priority. But I think since Delft entered the pre-inspection a bit earlier, they will also be released on track before the Karlsruhe car, because this will still be being checked by the officials.
Also, one high point of interest for me, at least, are the wings of Formula student cars. They're probably one of the most recognizable features. They're really big compared to other racing series and in relation to the entire car's size. And for most of the events, you would want as much downforce as possible. But you see quite a few teams, and more every year, opening their wings for acceleration to try and reduce all of this this aerodynamic drag. Do you think they gain a lot? I mean, we're talking about the runs, they are measured in milliseconds, where every millisecond matters, as we see teams really close to each other.
Yeah, definitely. If you're aiming for the top, you would probably need to have some measure to reduce your drag. These cars, they need to perform in very different conditions. Like in the SKIDPAD, which is relatively slow and just constant cornering, you want to have a lot of downforce and you don't really care about the drag as much. And in the acceleration, you really need the most downforce at the start, where the aerodynamic devices, they won't help you at all, because there's no wind today. And as the car is not moving fast, there's not much going on with the aerodynamics in terms of downforce. And then later on, they're mostly pushing you back with their drag. So a lot of teams will open parts of the rear wings and also parts of the front wings sometimes to reduce the drag and to get a couple of milliseconds more, or a couple of milliseconds less, and points more.
We also just had car E90 from Milano roll past the stage. It's looking like they're preparing to set up a SKIDPAD run as well. It'll be really exciting to see how they perform there today. Otherwise, E85, TU Delft are rolling back up to the starting line for acceleration. Will they improve?
Here we see the rear wing being opened right at the start line and closed again. This really much looks like an automatic system for them. The team is applauding for the run. And we have a 4.46, still an improvement over their previous run, which I believe was 4.78. Really nice work. Congratulations, Delft. Yes, the team members are applauding the car and the driver. Very well done. Well deserved.
Very well done. Also really fun watching more and more cars start introduce active aero into their cars. Earlier, a lot of the front wings have been opened manually before the cars rolled in to acceleration. We see more and more teams being able to open on the fly. So meanwhile, as teams are rolling up to their starting positions and pre-scrutineering, on the graphic we see that there's a little bit of precipitation today at 0.01 millimeters and 14 degrees Celsius, so it's still looking really cool.
And while E76 is slowly being prepared for the acceleration run, we did get an update on the AMZ car, which had stopped at the end of the acceleration. So they completed the acceleration run, but then the car turned off its tractive system and couldn't drive back to the post-inspection area on its own power. There seemed to be an inverter issue by the AMZ inverters, which they were confident to be able to fix them quite quickly for the next attempts. So good luck with that, and I hope it works out fine. we have some movement on the track again. On the one side, car number E33 is pushed out of the acceleration, either for the next attempt immediately, or they are going to the pits to fix some issue. And at the same time, car 76 is being readied for their first acceleration run. And I see the questions if rain tires are allowed. I actually don't see an official sign indicating the track condition, but in Formula Student we generally have three possible track conditions. It can be dry, damp, or wet. And rain tires are necessary in the wet condition and allowed in the damp condition, and they would not be allowed in the dry condition. And for my taste, this would still be dry condition, especially since for now it's even drying up more from the bit of rain that we had in the morning. Yes,
the sun even decided. The sun has even decided to show up a little bit.
Yes, so we have the official condition as dry right now. So rain tires would not be allowed. And the Karlsruhe car is given the green flag. It's launching off the line. It sounded like a good amount of wheel spin, probably about the right amount that you want to have. And you blink once, and the car's already past the full track with a 3.60. Very good time from Karlsruhe for the first attempt. Congratulations to that. And now also this car has come to a stop while driving back to the post-inspection area. Let's hope the driver can activate the car once again. Although the queue is currently empty for the acceleration, so we don't have any cars moving on. But we do have a reaction on the SKIDPAD. The Renn team, Uni Stuttgart, is doing its SKIDPAD. 2 circles on the right and then 2 circles on the left.
We see a cone flying.
Yeah, the challenge here is to keep the car close to the inner line, but not hit the cones. And the challenge here for the driver is to judge where the limit of the car is. And for Stuttgart, we see that the left round was the 4.82. The right turn was a bit slower, 5.11. And for the score, the average is counted. That's a 4.97. And quite often the drivers opt to do the second run immediately after, to use the little bit of heat that they have generated already in the tires and the feeling that they've got for the track now, and so does the Renn team driver.
A wonderful drone overview of the car going around the skid pad here.
Driving a nice line and being done. I didn't see any cone flying. That's really nice. That's really good. Let's see what the time of the second run is. The time actually did improve, and it was quite consistent among the left and right turn now. Left turn 4.75, right turn 4.85, giving us an average of 4.80, which is a good time for SKIDPAD. And we saw a comment about the livery of the Stuttgart car. What do you think? Do you like it as well?
I really love the cars that actually incorporate historical or other teams' like colors and designs in their cars. I like it when they add a bit of personality into the cars. I will admit, I love the look of Stuttgart car.
Yeah, and it combines the history of the car being the merged team from the Renn team and the Green team, when back in the day the Stuttgart was building the CV, or the Uni Stuttgart was building the CV and the DV car separately. But then they were phasing out the CV and merging the teams. And the green team had the green, as it's in the name, also on the car, and the Ren team had the blue, and now the new Ren team features both colors on the car, which is a nice testament to the history. And if you like the car as well, please do vote for your favorite template, for your favorite design. It's like the shape of the car, and I really like how flowy it looks with the rear wing especially. So if you also like the Stuttgart car, you may vote for it in our poll for the best looking car. Speaking of good looking cars, Trondheim is always a good candidate for that as well, and they are now pushing for the acceleration for the first attempt.
Yeah, guys, I think it's worth to mention as well that the driver from E76K Racing exited the car quite in a hurry as well, actually, which usually isn't a very good sign, especially for electric vehicles. So I hope to get an update from them soon, but for now, not looking too great. Yeah, let's see what they can say.
Meanwhile, the driver that we see on stream is not from the Karlsruhe car. It's the Delft driver walking towards the car. As, if I see correctly, the tires are being mounted again after the post-inspection. So they will be getting ready for either... No, they don't have another run left in the acceleration. They already did 4. So either they may have some runs for SKIDPAD left to do. I see they have... Nope, they also have done 4 runs for SKIDPAD yesterday. So with these 2 Excel runs this morning, their program for this morning session is done. They can prepare the car and themselves for the autocross in the afternoon, which is a big event coming up. So it's good to have some time for preparation.
Yeah, update from K Racing. It seems like they got an AMS error.
And for the non-Formula student people here, the AMS is one of the many and even more abbreviations that we do have in the Formula student. And AMS specifically is the accumulator monitoring system, which is monitoring one of the most important parts of the car and one of the cores of the electrical drivetrain, the accumulator. And since it's a big box of lithium-ion batteries, typically storing somewhere between 5 and 7 or 8 kilowatt hours of power at voltages of up to 600 volts, which are allowed by the rules, it's better to monitor how it behaves, especially since at the same time it's not just a lot of energy being stored. It's also being pushed to the limits, especially in things like acceleration, where you do use the peak power of 80 kilowatts that is allowed by the Formula Student rules. And that amounts to a lot of power being drawn from the accumulator, high currents, high voltage, so you better monitor that everything is fine. And if the AMS detects any issue, any over voltage, under voltage, over current, any temperature issue, everything is monitored very closely. It will shut down the tractive system of the car. It will indicate with a red light in the button, in the dashboard, and then the electrical systems responsible or electric safety responsible need to take a look to ensure that the car is in a safe state. But typically the teams, they can watch the data from outside the car and determine what is the problem and if it's a critical problem. But it seems like it's not such a critical problem, since the car is now being pushed towards the exit of the acceleration, or probably towards the post-inspection if they get one. This will be interesting, because if you do have a run and the AMS lights up in the run, you're typically DQ'd. The AMS should not be activated in any error scenario during the run. Now that this was not happening during the run, but on the way back, let's see how the officials handle this here.
We see Milano running their SKIDPAD right now.
Yeah, one of the Italian teams here. I think we have 4 or 5 Italian teams here. And the driver did the SKIDPAD and seems to opt for the second run directly after.
We saw a left time of 4:95, right of 5:38, which places us at an average of 5.16.
Similar to what Stuttgart did, with the right-hander being significantly slower than the left-hander in the first run. No, the other right. Oh,
Is
yeah,
that a puddle in the
hand
middle
side.
of the right corner? On the far side, there seems like a line of something on the track.
Yeah, there is a bit of water still there. The SKIDPAD run, SKIDPAD track needs to dry up a bit. And Milano completes the second run just very nicely. Yes, and then come to safe stop. Don't run over the track marshal, please.
Their time being a
Thumbs
really
up from the driver. That's always good to see.
their time being a really good improvement. 4:94 on the left, 4:98 on the right. Very solid, stable, and like similar times between left and right, placing them at an average of 4.96.
Here, and again, similar to Stuttgart, very similar times on the left and right-hander in the second run. You sometimes take the first run to get used to how the car feels on track, also how the track is, where there might be some puddles or some bumps. The track here looks quite even. On other competitions, we do see a few bumps in the SKIDPAD, which makes it really interesting, both for the drivers and I think especially for the driverless cars in the SKIDPAD when they need to adapt to certain sudden changes in the track conditions when they drive over the bump. As to the question why there is no combined time for SKIDPAD on the live timing, unfortunately I can't explain you why. I can just confirm that there is no combined time. You need to turn into the stream, as you did. Here we do have the combined time on screen. I haven't heard of any plan for standard tires. There was a question whether there's a plan for standard tires. I'm not quite sure what this refers to, but I haven't heard of plans for standardizing tires. And it's also interesting to leave the room, the engineering room, for the teams to choose different tires. Most teams buy tires, and the market is not really big, so many of them are using quite similar rubber. But some teams are also known for making their own tires, which is sometimes really interesting to see them.
We saw E63 making the decision to roll out away from the starting line for acceleration after entering the queue. Must have been some issues. We saw them inspecting inside the front inspection lid, possibly something with the gearbox, with the pedal box.
I saw the question in the chat, how is the brake test queue? I actually don't see any brake test queue, which is partially because I can't see all of the brake test area, but also the track marshals, they seem to have a little bit of a break here, so I assume there's no car queued for brake test right now. So for now, we will be left with those 20 cars who do have a brake test so far. But of course, we hope to see some movement on the brake test. And as I speak, some of the track marshals got up and moving. As I said, I can't see the queue.
Quick update maybe from car E08 that we've seen here yesterday already at the acceleration, only participating with one working motor, the rear left it was. We saw a lot of wheel spin, or we heard it as well rather, and they just confirmed to me that now they are running with both of their rear-wheel drive motors, so we can expect a huge improvement in the acceleration time.
They already completed 2 runs yesterday at a very, very consistent acceleration time of 6.83 and 6.84 seconds, very close together. I think this is a good sign for the driver and the control systems in the car that they can pull off their acceleration mode repeatedly. And driving with one motor only, I think this is also a very respectable time. So let's see if what they do now with double the amount of driven wheels.
We also saw KA Racing roll back into the queue, I believe, for acceleration. So they seem to have fixed whatever issues they had.
And while the brake test is relatively empty, we have a lot of movement here on the acceleration track right now. The car that we spoke about, E08, is the first one in the second, third, fourth run queue. Then there is the Karlsruhe car behind it. And we have in the first attempt queue being checked before the run, the car E96. And at the entrance, also a hybrid car from TU Budapest, the car C82, combining both a combustion drivetrain with a small accumulator and some electric motors to combine the powers of both types of powertrain. However, we have spoken to a couple of teams in the paddock so far, and mostly they didn't have their hybrid systems quite ready, so I'd be curious to see how it is with the Budapest car, whether they have their electric motors also ready to support the combustion engine.
The line for the test track seems to be growing a little bit. We have 4 cars in queue and 1 car on the test track. But brake test seems pretty clear. There's a car running brake test now. I cannot see which one.
And the fears that we had for the weather, they seemed not to have come true. The sun is shining, the track is drying up, while the cars are being made ready for the acceleration. Still, all the cars which are in the queue are being prepared and being tested. But I'm sure we'll have one run in a few moments.
The wind has been picking up a little bit, with a few gusts of wind starting to come in the previous minutes. Otherwise, we've also completed the first third of the session, the first hour, with 1 hour and 52 minutes, nearly 2 hours, remaining for the teams.
And just to recall, we have, as of this morning, 20 cars with a valid brake test, which are able to compete in the session. More to come, hopefully, if they arrive at the brake test. And given that each team has a total of 4 runs for the acceleration and 4 runs for the SKIDPAD, there are still many, many runs potentially to be held within this session. And it is also the last session for acceleration and SKIDPAD. Later in the afternoon, we will have other disciplines coming up. And both the SKIDPAD and the acceleration will give you up to 75 points each, which, if you are going for a good overall placing, these are very important points. So the teams, I think they are willing to go there. As we see, there's a lot of action happening on the test track, where they shake down the car for the last checks to get ready for the runs on the acceleration and SKIDPAD.
Also looking really exciting. As of now, we are looking at a total of 27 teams having completed the brake test, with quite a few of them having completed it this morning.
Oh, wow! Then the brake test crew has been quite busy in the morning since I checked.
Guys, I have a small update from the SKIDPAD side. I had a brief chat with the scrutineers there. Big, urgent announcement to the teams. Heed the advice from the team meeting this morning and yesterday about your interlocks. The way the wire needs to be run for the officials here to be happy with it is very specific. And we've had some teams that have had issues with that so far already. Second point, I had a bit of a peek at the SKIDPAD track itself. The reason that we might see a slight difference between left and right is that on the left-hand side, there are slightly more wet patches than on the right side. Now that the sun is coming out, I don't expect that to be an issue for long. But hey, it's extra information for right now.
Thank you so much. And we have the acceleration track running the Zwickau car, I believe. A lot of spinning of the tires right at the front. We heard some screeching, and it looks like a good run. Let's see the time. 3.64. Very impressive. Very well done for the WHZ racing team.
That sounded really fun to be the driver of. A lot of wheel spin, and the car really took off once the tire settled.
Yeah, being in the car when it accelerates at full power is quite impressive.
A lot of these cars are managing 0 to 60, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour times in just a little over 2 seconds, which must which must really push you back into your seats.
Which obviously now gives us a good point to talk about some cars which really optimized the 0 to 100. But before we come to that, let's watch the second run of Zwickau. Let's see if they can improve from their 3.64 time.
Still quite a lot of wheel spin off the line.
And the car looked very stable afterwards. That's always a good sign. Sometimes the cars on acceleration, they start to wiggle around a bit and they look a bit sketchy, but not this one. And I see a 3.66 for the second attempt of FSCZ Racing Team. But I was going to talk about the acceleration power in Formula student cars, since these are so powerful. They pack, but limited by the rules, 80 kilowatts of power. Most electric cars actually have installed a bit more than that, but they can't pull it off during the competitions, because there is a measurement device installed by the scrutineers, and this will check that you don't go over these 80 kilowatts, otherwise you will be disqualified from that respective run. But the potential is there. These are really powerful cars. They are lightweight, they are agile, and there has been a battle going over the past more than 10 years between the Green Team and AMZ for the world records, which is now currently sitting at 0.956 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, done by the modified mutant car from AMZ. And in the previous years, the Green Team Stuttgart had the record, and AMZ had the record, and Stuttgart had the record. But now this 0.956 was a big step up compared to the previous record, and will be fun to see if in a couple of years' time someone is going to beat that.
There was a question about the queue for the test track, and it's increasing even more. There is currently one car on track with 3, 6, 7 cars in the queue for the test track.
And in the meantime, we had already spoken about the E08 car, which drove with one motor yesterday and wanted to drive with 2 motors today. But just a couple of minutes ago, they also pushed out of the acceleration queue and back to the paddock. So they seem to have some sort of issue, either something on the car that didn't work or something that was found during the inspection here that they wanted to fix before they actually do the acceleration run. And the queue that we have live on screen right now with this beautiful drone shot is the queue for the practice area, with a lot of cars being queued there, trying to test a bit.
Also, as a note on, as you mentioned, weight has a huge effect on acceleration times. A lot of the cars this year are actually managing to hover around 170 kilograms, weighing in really light for being a race car. Some reasons for not performing the brake test. What do you know any possible reasons why teams would not be running brake tests? Off the top of my head, they could have electrical issues without being able to even turn on the car. The car could not be mechanically viable to drive.
Yeah, of course. The first step is that you need to be able to drive. And the way how the brake test works is that you accelerate to a certain speed and then slam the brakes. And the car needs to do 2 things. First, all of the wheels need to lock. And secondly, the car needs to come to a stop in a controlled manner. So the car, if it rotates too much, then it won't be a valid run. So locking and then sliding in sort of a straight line. This is what you need to do for the brake test. And most times the locking is the problem, that the brakes are not able to lock the wheels. And there are tons of factors influencing this. It's the grip level of the specific track used at the brake track, when usually as a team you will want to have high level of grip for your runs. On the brake test track, the teams usually prefer low grip levels because that makes it easier for the tires to lock. And then it depends a bit on how the teams build their brakes. Especially electric cars try to save weight and size on the brakes, since they try to do a lot of regenerative braking with the motors anyway. And then like this model of the brakes is, the higher the requirements are for the quality of it, and sometimes also you need to put more force on it as a driver, and it can be quite a lot of force that is needed to lock the brakes on a Formula student car. And speaking of weight, one of the lightest cars of the competition has pulled up for the acceleration. They are in their first run, and it's the team from Johanneum Graz with their famous Never Stop Pushing on the rear wing.
We see car E76 pulling back onto the acceleration track. And in position. Very slight wheel spin at the start, otherwise a very solid run. Let's wait for the times to come in. They also seem to be making it back on their own power so far. The time was a... at 3:65 as of their second attempt.
I see that on their first attempt they had a 3.60, a little bit faster.
I saw a question of if we can look up the car weights from the inspections. Sadly, no. We have a few weights here and there that teams have submitted directly to us in the media team.
But as to, for example, the Graz weight, maybe our reporter on the field might be able to have a sneak peek on the inspection stickers on the car, because the weight is also written on there. I got information about the cars, both cars from Graz. We have two cars. One is on the acceleration, the one from Johanneum. The other one is still in the paddock from TU Graz. Johanneum featuring 148.5 kilograms. Extremely impressive. And the other Graz is apparently even lighter at 146 kilograms. What would you say is the range that most cars are in terms of weight?
In terms of weight, we see a lot of cars hovering around the 200 mark, and a lot of other cars hovering around the 160 to 170 mark. So I'd honestly say I could expect an average of 180-ish for the weight for cars, 185 for the EV cars. Combustion cars are running quite a bit heavier.
There's a lot of action of cars being pushed towards disciplines here. We see C12 from Thessaloniki towards the SKIDPAD. We've seen the Tallinn car E19 for their first acceleration attempt, and Uni Magdeburg E20 on the way to the SKIDPAD.
We see TU Munich on the SKIDPAD right now. The car's looking really stable around these corners. And we hear them applauding from over at the SKIDPAD. Let's see what the time comes in at.
The Munich driver also opting for the second run right away.
The previous time was a 4.68 for left and 4.74 on the right. We hear more applause that their second run is now complete. Let's wait for the times.
The times are in. They improved a bit. This first turn was a 4.62 and second one a 4.68. So the average would be 4.65, if my math is correct. Very good time.
Very well done from TU Munich.
I am scrolling down through the SKIDPAD timings from today and from yesterday, and the combined time of 4.65 must be quite up high in the ranking. I see a few 4.7, 4.8, but I don't think I saw any runs in the 4.6 range, except for the ones from Too Fast here.
As the graphic shows, Too Fast is currently in the lead, but with 0.11 seconds.
And my manual inspection is always also confirmed by the purple time. So this is actually the fastest SKIDPAD that we've seen so far. I would assume that also the track has dried up a bit, given that yesterday it was a bit warmer and completely dry, so the conditions might have been slightly better than at least at the start of this session. But now Too Fast has proven that you can achieve good times, even the proper times, this morning on the SKIDPAD.
We also witnessed car E33 rolling past us towards the SKIDPAD, and now we have TU Graz rolling up to the acceleration line.
Yeah, let's see what they can do with 148.5 kilograms and 80 kilowatts of power.
Oh, I apologize. This is Johan Graz, not TU.
Of course, 148 kilograms plus the driver, which is why the driverless cars are a bit faster than the best driver cars in the acceleration nowadays. A bit of a slow start with a bit of wheel spin, I would say.
Yes.
Let's see at the timing. And there was a slight wiggle at the car after 20 or 40 meters. After that, it looked very stable, so there was no instability at the high speeds. But getting off the line,
Their first time coming in at a 3.73. As he mentioned, you saw a lot of wheel spin from the line, but once that car settled, it shot off really fast.
yeah. And the driver's opting for the second run directly. Let's see if they improve. Already the 3.73 times, this puts them on the ranking position 7. Very respectable. We see the drag reduction system has opened the rear wheel. A lot of wheel spin at the start. Could even see some dust being kicked off the tarmac. Let's wait for the time. I see a 12.01 on the timing screen, but I don't believe that is true. It looked somewhere, I would accept anywhere anything in the range of the first run, but this seems to be some faulty reading that we see here on the screen. 3.97, yes, I believe that. It is a bit slower than the first run, though. Still a good time, but with their first run in the books, they now have to pass the post-inspection, and then they have at least that time secured. And I believe they didn't have runs yesterday, so they would have runs number 3 and 4 still left for the remaining 1.5 hours of the session. So they still can improve on their second 2 attempts.
Now we have C82 starting their acceleration run here.
Yeah, one of the
third attempt, I think. Sorry.
I think one of the first accelerations by combustion cars this morning.
Yeah, I cannot remember seeing another one.
It is quite an experience hearing it. You hear the engine roaring, you hear a bit of wheel spin, you have a bit of everything. Everything on the car makes a sound. And they come in at a 4.23 seconds.
One thing that CV teams bring that EV teams don't is we can really smell the smell of exhaust here right now.
Yes. And since electric and combustion teams are ranked separately, comparing to the other combustion cars, the 4.22 is the purple time. It's the best acceleration that we had so far at FSCZ 26. For comparison, last year the best acceleration time was a 4.03, set by YTU Racing. But it's always difficult to compare the different competitions and the different years due to the track conditions.
We heard a little wheel spin off the line. They completed this was their 4th run. We'll wait for the times to come in.
But good job from the driver on keeping the car that stable, even with a big amount of wheel spin.
The second time came in at a 4.42. Over half a second improvement from their first run.
I think we might be... No, I'm only mixing up stuff, sorry. As of now, things have come a bit quiet here on the competition tracks, on the acceleration and the SKIDPAD. Currently, the XQ is consisting of only one car, E19 from Tallinn. And the SKIDPAD queue is a bit harder to see from where I am, but I don't see a lot of action there. Just see Team Munich pushing back to the pits. They already did their SKIDPAD runs. Meanwhile, on the test track, there's still a lot of action, and there's still a good queue for the test track. Still, we have 3 cars in the test track queue. 1 car just being pushed onto the test track. And I also see that the Dresden car is at the brake test. I couldn't see whether it was a successful attempt that they made, but they definitely are present at the brake test. And we can hope to see them here soon if they get their brakes to work properly.
We now also have Team E08 entering the acceleration queue.
Yeah, we already saw them earlier, but they didn't start the run. They left the queue before the start line. So apparently they fixed whatever the issue was, and they are ready for the next attempt. And there was just a very interesting question on the screen. A cost cap. What do you think? How could it be done, and is it a good idea to do it?
I would be really interested to see how that would be implemented. We know quite a few different teams have... the budget is very varying in Formula SAE, and quite a few teams recycle old parts. And I don't know how that would be accounted for if we implemented a cost cap. Would you look at the money spent? Would you look at the value of components used? Do you know how it's done in Formula 1?
I'm not sure how it's done in Formula 1. I guess it's a bit easier because in Formula 1 the teams typically pay for everything that they get, whereas in Formula Student there's a lot of sponsoring happening outside of financial sponsoring, so it will be quite tricky to cover that. Maybe you could make use of the information that the teams have from the cost of manufacturing event, where they need to provide some sort of information on that. So it would definitely be quite tricky to implement it properly. And personally, I wouldn't be a big fan of it, especially since it would be quite an artificial boundary. But also worth considering it.
Yeah, guys, quick update from the track. As you mentioned, we see car E08 back here. They were pushed away earlier with apparently a brake issue that they were able to fix now and go for their final acceleration runs with both motors in the rear working most likely. Additionally, I can add some information for the car from Tallinn, E19. As previously mentioned, the screen is here. They do keep a close eye on the interlocks, and this is also what's holding them back right now, but I'm sure they will be able to fix it shortly.
And we see that car E26 from Johanneum Racing Graz has finished the post-inspection. I hope the team is happy with the result and their runs are valid. Graz is heading directly over to the SKIDPAD area to secure their SKIDPAD runs.
The fastest... Perfect timing. The fastest acceleration time so far for EV is TU Cots with 3.44. Fast Tube coming in at 3.5 and Too Fast coming in at 3.55.
If I recall correctly, all of these times were set yesterday. I don't recall seeing the TU Graz team on the track today, neither Fast Tube. I think I saw them just on the test track. Yes, they are on the test track right now, if I can read the number correctly. It definitely looks like a Fast Tube car. Right now we only have the other Graz on track here, doing a driver change, because a lot of teams have very specialized drivers, and the Graz driver for the acceleration got out of the car, and the skid pad driver is being strapped into the car before they make their way to the skid pad.
Right now there's not much happening over at the skid pad. There's a queue of, I cannot see many teams. There is a nice blue view tent in the way, vitamin water. Oh, it says love yourself though, that's an important thing to remember. Aristotle Racing Team, we saw them at the test track not that long ago. Do we know where they are at this current point of time?
Yeah, we would also love to see UMD Racing on the skid pad. They were pushing towards the skid pad. I saw them coming here in front of the stage. But I haven't seen them on the track yet.
I see a question here about E63 preparing for takeoff. I have not seen them. They were in the queue for acceleration, and then they pulled out right before the start line. So I'm really interested and curious as to why that is, and if they'll be back. I hope so.
Speaking of acceleration, Team Tallinn is preparing for the acceleration. They are at the ready to race line. Yes, the driver straps himself in, tightens the seatbelt, gets into the mode for the acceleration. I saw that they have written never out of control on the rear wing. Let's see if that's true. And we also have again car E90 in the queue for their first attempt. We see 2U Berlin on the move here, ETH Zurich on the skid pad. The session is getting busy, and I expect it to stay this busy or get even busier during the rest of the session.
You can hear the whistle of the gearbox all the way from the main stage. Such a fun car to listen to. You see a slight oversteer, otherwise driver's really pushing. And now we see Tallinn rolling up to the start line for acceleration.
For the acceleration, it's quite important to line up the cars precisely. Especially the first centimeters, they can give you huge influence on the time. Huge influence given that we are speaking about hundredths of a second here. Very solid run. I didn't hear a lot of wheel spin. Looked very stable, very well in control.
We also have ETH Zurich back on the skid pad again. Their last run had a first time of 4.85s and second loop of 4.94. Tallinn's time came in at a 3.7. I just missed the last number, 3.75.
Good job, Tallinn.
And as you mentioned, I just also want to comment again. If anybody missed it, I love Tallinn's rear wing. Staying never out of control until, as we mentioned about active aero, they open up. And now it's out of control.
Then from AFZ, I see the time of their newest SKIDPAD attempt. It was 4.70 and 4.97. As we see Tallinn now for their second attempt.
As you see, from never out of control, and back in control.
But a very straight line. Nice camera perspective from there. No wiggling at all. Look very stable. And the first attempt was a 3.75. Let's see what the time for the second attempt.
With a very solid running car and a very similar time, they came in on their second run at a 3.78, so 0.03 seconds slower. So very, very consistent. And as we all know, consistency is key.
I have to say, the dynamic area here is really living up. We see a lot of drivers running to and from the cars. We see a lot of cars being pushed around. For example, now Stuttgart towards the SKIDPAD. Good luck, guys. We have the test track action with a constant queue of... right now it's down to 2 cars. We see Munich and DHBW, the other Stuttgart, in the queue, and Delft on the
Now we
track.
have PRC racing. A little bit of wheel spin. We saw them go a little bit left and right, but otherwise a very solid acceleration. Let's wait for their times. Oh, the car seems to have stopped at the end of the acceleration line. Their time coming in at a 4.16 seconds. Oh, and the car is back on. We see C26 here from EOSI with a really nice looking livery on their car.
Yeah, it would be interesting to get the story behind that livery. There's a few liveries here. I think my favorite one was the snake-themed livery that I saw in the pits by, let me check up which team that was.
While we check which team, that one was also my favorite with the eyes, the entire snake design they had. We also have EO8 lining back up for their final acceleration attempt. And they are off. A little bit of wheel spin. Very straight line otherwise. They're coming. And we have E96 from, oversteering a little bit from Zwickau, doing the SKIDPAD.
Yeah, there was a bit of an oversteer and one of the left-handers.
PR set with probably the most consistent time I've seen so far in acceleration. Their third run being a 5.16 and their fourth attempt being a 5.15.
And the SKIDPAD time from WHZ Racing Team from Zwickau is a 4.93 and a 4.82. And they're opting for the second round right away, as usual. Yeah, this was, I think, a consistent run so far. I think this was the place where I saw oversteer in the first run, and not so much now. Let's see if the time did improve.
While waiting for the time, we also see car E63 rolling back after pulling out earlier. Be excited to see if they manage to take off, like one of the commenters said.
And Zwickau improved to an average time of 4.69. Very good. Very well done, team.
And And that would be the second team we see getting into the 4.6s today.
Yeah, might be, yeah. I was a bit taken away now by the nice view of the driver of E90 getting ready. We saw him activating the car. We also heard the beeping here on our stage. When the cars get ready, first they activate the tractive system and you see the red blinking light. And then there's a second stage in which the driver has to push the brake and press a button to get the car into the ready to drive mode, and we just saw that of the E90 driver, who has now completed the acceleration run and now is coming back towards the post-inspection area slowly. Must be quite a contrast to go in one way, full throttle, really fast, and then go back in a controlled and safe manner. And let's see what the time is.
E90, Dynamis PRC, got a time of 3.99. We see car C12 just hitting a cone on the SKIDPAD this is.
Yeah, there seemed to have been some confusion. Sometimes it happens in the SKIDPAD that drivers in the heat of the moment don't make don't find the correct path on the track. I didn't see if this was the case in here. Definitely he hit a cone and aborted the track immediately. And we have E90 for their second acceleration attempt from Milano.
And their second time already came in at 3.77, meaning a 0.22 second improvement. There's also a question about E99, and I cannot say I have seen them anywhere in the dynamic area today.
As I checked this morning, they didn't have the brake test, but there has been an update. They do have the rain test, but not the brake test yet. So they have passed the accumulator, mechanical and electrical scrutineering, as well as the rain test. So I suppose they would be at the brake test or preparing for the brake test right now.
We see the timing giving Aristotle Racing Team a impressive SKIDPAD time of 0.6 seconds.
And the car on the acceleration veering a bit to the right, but keeping it within the lines. Not any cone hit, with a good margin to the cones. Oh, speaking of cones hit, yes, you do want to keep it as close to the inner cones as possible in the SKIDPAD. There was a bit too close. I see a couple of cones being hit on the second turns.
We saw him moving the cones farther in, giving him more space to drive on, and allowing for a faster. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, this strategy won't work because the cones do give you a penalty of 2 seconds, so this will slow you down quite significantly.
0.2 seconds for the SKIDPAD, that's the thing.
And we're spreading false information again.
Meanwhile, PVR Racing just completed their third attempt at the acceleration, running at a time of 4.04.
Yes, you are correct. Down or out is 0.2 seconds for the SKIDPAD. Still, it's not worth it.
They are now lining up for their fourth and final attempt. They have a green flag, and they're off.
The car is moving around a bit, so we see it is running at the full power. It is running at everything that it can give, and let's see about the time.
number E16 PVR Racing's final time came in, improving down to the 3s with a 3.96 seconds.
And now we see car C26 with this interesting livery. Looks really cool. If you like it, please be reminded, we do have a poll in the chat. Vote for your favorite livery of the cars. This is again a combustion car, powering up the engine.
I was just about to say the same as you. Lovely to hear the engine revving for the combustion cars.
We get a bit of a smell here on the stage.
Meanwhile, we see ETH Zurich also rolling into the acceleration queue. He also has a green flag, and they're off. Quite a lot of rear wheel spin. And the car seem to struggle with the final gear. And their time came in at a 5.51 seconds on their first attempt.
And I just saw again on the brake test, I believe it was E59 from Dresden. It looked like the Dresden car from here. I already saw them a bit earlier today.
We see E20 also on the SKIDPAD. I'm sorry.
Yes, E20 in the SKIDPAD. UMD Racing, yes. Someone was in the chat asking for them half an hour ago. And now we have them on SKIDPAD. I hope you're still around.
While waiting for their times, let's watch what ELC does. They're off again. We heard them getting through all of the gears this time. Let's wait for the times. And
yeah, it sounded much better than the first attempt. I think the first attempt it sounded like he had some problem with the gearbox and the gears were not shifting properly. But this sounded much better.
What were Magdeburg's E20? What was their time on the last SKIDPAD run?
The UMD Racing time from Magdeburg, 6.73 on the first turn and 6.89 on the second one.
And ELC's second time also managed to get down to the 4s with a 4.99 seconds.
And that must be Berlin.
Really quick. It looks like a really powerful acceleration run from E13 there. From TU Berlin.
I see, I don't know if it's the correct attempt that I see here, but the first attempt of TU Berlin was 3.50.
And for their third attempt, they also managed to get into the 6s with it. They were, yeah.
3.69. Curious that the first attempt was still the fastest by some margin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, guys, I think we shouldn't forget that TU Berlin had this issue of going off course with their first and so far fastest attempt. They fixed some stuff on the brakes, seemingly more mechanical braking, as we also could hear up here from stage. So yeah, still good to see that they are still able to post decent times here.
Now we have Fast Tube getting ready for their fourth and final attempt, and they are off immediately. Very good-looking acceleration run. And we heard the team giving a nice applause. Always nice to hear. And their second time came in at a 3.83 seconds.
Meanwhile, if I saw correctly, E14 from Techno and E-Racing is on the way to the skid pad.
For everyone at home watching and for all the teams, there is approximately 1 hour left of the session. Meanwhile, we see TU Munich attempting some test track action here.
Yeah, I think they're already preparing for autocross. I think they already have set all their times for acceleration and skid pad as well. So they now have the time to prepare for autocross. Although no, they only have 2 times for skid pad, so they do have the option for run number 3 and 4 on the skid pad. Maybe the driver is getting the feel for the car before heading to skid pad. And meanwhile, we have more happening on the acceleration track. Car number E33 is getting pushed to the ready to race line. It's called Nira. AMZ always naming their cars after Swiss mountains.
We see
C26 nice
C26
to their home country.
We also see E10 and C26 rolling towards acceleration with towards skid pad, with E76 from Karlsruhe rolling into acceleration as well. And yes, as you were saying about AMZ naming their cars. I love their naming tradition of going local with their local mountains. Of course, I heard they had some fun challenges with this year's car, the name of the car, but they ended up with a really cool looking name.
And I just saw that Stuttgart, the Renn Team Stuttgart, is on the skid pad, while AMZ is on the acceleration track. And also, we just felt a few drops of rain here on the stage. Let's see how the weather situation continues. The clouds are a bit gray, with potential of rain, I would say.
The sun has gone a little away. Also, E33, they managed their second run, according to the graphic here, with a 3.58 seconds.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and we see the rain map. It does contain a little bit of rain, but the weather here is a bit unpredictable with the mountains around the Autodrome Most here. Let's see how the situation evolves over the past almost 1 hour of the session, while Stuttgart is doing their 4th and final skid pad attempt.
We saw a pretty nice tight line running on the left circle there.
And we have some voice from the track from Jonas.
Yeah, guys, you're absolutely right. There is a slight drizzle starting here. At the moment, very light. The track is still dry, and it will be like that for the foreseeable future, but obviously it's cooling down, and the conditions won't get any better than that, it seems.
After having pulled out earlier, now we see car number E63, Revolve and Tenue rolling up to acceleration.
I think Revolve is also one of the teams running their self-developed inverters, right?
That is absolutely correct. I believe, do not quote me, but I believe this is the fourth generation possibly of self-developed inverters. Somebody please correct me in chat if you know better.
It's always a nice engineering challenge to develop the inverters by yourself, because they combine a lot of different fields of software and electrical engineering and controls. But it allows you to customize completely, to customize the form factor, to customize the functionality, and really nail it down on the Formula Student performance. So let's see how Aquila performs as it runs to the start line of the acceleration.
They seem to have fixed whatever issues they had an hour ago.
Meanwhile, Munich is hurrying towards the SKIDPAD, featuring the
They have a green flag, and they are running. A very nice solid line from Revolve.
Yep, good run.
And the first time comes in at a 3.65.
Just to remind you, the best time that we've seen in the acceleration so far, not including any penalty, as always with the live timings, was from TU Graz. I believe it was set yesterday with the 3.44. Very impressive time.
We now see them lining up for their second run. Meanwhile, C21 is doing the skid pad. We can hear the wonderful engine over in the distance. And Revolve is running again. We saw Revolve on their second attempt coming in at an identical time to AMZ's second run with a 3.58 seconds.
Slight improvement over the first run. Well done. And on the skid pad, C21 is doing their second attempt right after the first one.
Their first attempt having a left time of 6.42, right circle 6.9, giving them an average of 6.66 seconds.
Yeah, car C21, the third team from Romania that we see on track actually. We saw them as the very first car this morning pushing towards the skid pad, not actually going for it. It seemed like they had some issues there. They told me back then that they were just changing tires, but that didn't seem like it was the case. But whatever issues they had, they obviously fixed it and were finally able to get some runs in.
The car we saw possibly getting ready for acceleration from E76 from Karlsruhe. I just also wanted to note they are apparently celebrating 20 years of KA racing this year. So congratulations to them for lasting that long.
Meanwhile, E26, URS Graz, is on the skid pad.
Karlsruhe has a green flag.
So does Graz. We have SKIDPAD and acceleration in parallel.
They're absolutely in parallel. Karlsruhe had a very decent running line, very straight, not much wheel spin. You seem to see a little bit of oversteer on the left circle from E26 here.
And both cars running for their second attempt immediately. Graz is on the way. Car racing is being positioned at the starting line. Let's take a look at Graz.
Car Racing's third acceleration attempt came in at a 3.59 seconds.
And I've got the first time from Johanneum Racing Graz on the SKIDPAD with a 5.12 and 4.84 in their first attempt. I'm just waiting in for the times from the second attempt, which are 4.90 and 4.83. So definitely an improvement, especially in the first corner.
We also had the E76 running their final attempt, where we heard a little bit of wheel spin, otherwise seemed like a pretty solid run. They came in at a 3.63 seconds.
And now for the first time we see the car from Hamburg lined up for the acceleration with the famous 1000 Strom on the rear wing, car number 78.
Yeah, it's great to see Hamburg getting ready here. They have been on the practice track this morning as well. Afterwards, had some issues, seemingly with their electrical system, and took quite some time to fix it. So yeah, definitely great to see them getting ready to participate at acceleration.
And already yesterday, very unfortunate for them, they came about 5 minutes late for the driverless track drive after having finished all the scrutineerings. And DSPW Stuttgart is on the way, E7.
E7 running with a really loud and nice sounding gearbox. A little bit of wheel spin. We see the driver trying to warm his tires on the way back for their second attempt. Their first time came in at a 3.64 seconds. Let's see how this tire warming will help improve his second time. We also had a gust of wind bringing quite a few drops of rain into the stage as well.
And another update for the people on site, doesn't bother you on the stream, but we see a few people standing on the bridge here. Please don't stand on the bridge. The bridge isn't designed for that. The bridge is only for walking, so please get off the bridge and stand just on the ground, guys. Guys, please move off the bridge. The bridge is only for walking and not for standing. Please don't use the bridge as a grandstand. We do have grandstands further down the line. It's nice to see that you love the stream. We're loving it as well. It's a really nice atmosphere here. I haven't seen E40 anywhere here, so unfortunately I don't have any updates on them.
Now we also have Hamburg running their first acceleration run, and they are slowing down.
They are coming to a halt immediately after the start.
Very unfortunate from them.
Yeah, the TSRL it seems to be off, which is not what you want to have. You either wanted to have it green or red flashing. If it's being off, either the a complete car has turned off and lost power, or the car has detected some unforeseen state.
We saw the driver gesticulating a little bit. I don't think he was that happy.
No, definitely. If you're a driver and there. Okay, so the TSL is back on green after, I think, a restart of the car. So that's good. But of course, this run was not a success for Hamburg, as they are now preparing to push the car off track.
Meanwhile, we see E10 from TU Graz rolling back up to the skid pad.
And C21 continuing the acceleration queue.
From these angles on the camera, it's looking really... And they hit it and they stop. The drivers seem to have missed the turning point.
Ooh, I didn't see that. That's a curious position to
I remember
stop.
last year in the evening for the first day of the skid pad, there were quite a few drivers making the same mistake as the sun was really low. And it was hitting the driver's eyes right at the transition point from the right to the left circle.
Yeah, visibility can be quite low if there's maybe a bit of water on the visor. If the sun is shining in your eyes, you don't see as much sitting in the car. Also, given the low seating position, it's from outside it's always quite easy to see where the track goes. If you're inside the car, somewhere between sitting and lying, it's more tricky. And drivers might have some drops of rain on the visor as well. Wind has picked up, and we continue to have a little bit of rain here. It's not too heavy yet, but definitely noticeable.
We see E10 getting ready for their second attempt now. Also very fortunate on when they ran off not to hit the timing equipment. They have a green flag and they are starting.
Yeah, TU Graz with the characteristic yellow nose cone. Some teams have very characteristic parts in their livery that it makes it easy to recognize them. Others change the livery every day, every year, and not necessarily every day. So let's see what the time of TU Graz in the skid pad is.
There's been quite a few drops of rain coming in now, but they managed a left circle of 5.05, right of 4.92, placing them at an average of 4.99.
Just under the mark of 5 seconds.
Yeah, guys, we could also see E10 getting some correction in at the end of the left-hand circle. The wind gusts are also picking up here, so that maybe played a role. Marcos seemingly still handling it well, no cones there. So yeah, luckily finished the run here clean after he didn't find his way on the first run.
And now I do have an update on E40 from Eindhoven. I just see them in front of the test track. I think it's they're on the test track line. First car to go on the test track once the car that is currently exiting the test track has done so. Tallinn is currently exiting test track. No, and Eindhoven is not lining up for the test track. They are going directly for acceleration or skid pad. Maybe a good decision given that the weather is not improving and we only have 42 minutes left in the session, as C26 is on the skid pad right now.
We see a nice amount of body roll coming from that car as they really push the car in the corners. So even with the few raindrops, they seem to not be struggling that much with grip from the looks of it. Of course, the driver could have other thoughts.
And another team from the Benelux countries is pushing to acceleration. Eindhoven is queuing for probably then their third attempt. And Rent is also queued for acceleration for their first attempt.
We saw C26 hit at least one cone so far, but otherwise looking very solid. Haven't seen their times coming yet. I don't see much of E39.
I've just looked in the technical inspection status. They seem to be missing the brake test still. It might also be the case that they have just passed the brake test and it's not updated online yet. I don't want to spread any false information, but the test status is still that they haven't done the brake test yet.
We see C21 lining up for acceleration. And they have a green flag, revving very loudly. And they're off. We hear a nice amount of wheel spin. The car really screaming its way down the track. Now let's wait for their times. A small reminder to the teams and watchers, there is currently 40 minutes left of the session. We saw car number E95 completing their first SKIDPAD run. And based on last year's sticker they had in their chassis, ka-chow.
And we do have the acceleration time from the first run of C21 UPT Racing Team at 5.29, which I think should put them quite high in the combustion rating. They are doing their second attempt, while Chalmers is doing their second SKIDPAD.
So Chalmers' first time coming with a left circle of 5.15, right of 5.33, and meaning an average of 5.24 seconds. We also got Chalmers the second time now, coming in at a 496, 484, with an average of 491. Very nice improvement from their side. We also see E29 lining up for some more acceleration runs.
Yes, earlier we saw them doing the acceleration runs with the first driver. Now the second driver can get in run number 3 and 4. While we do actually have a quite nice crowd now here under the clouds. A lot of people gathered around the start section of the acceleration and the SKIDPAD track, watching their teams as they prepare the car, as they take in their runs. That's very nice to see. Yeah, go 67. We see C67 being prepared over on the skid pack. WET Racing.
Just at a quick glance around me, I don't see an E59. How's their inspection going? Do you know?
I see for E59 that they did pass the brake test. That is a very good sign. I spoke with them at some point, and they were expecting some trouble at the brake test, but all their efforts seem to have paid off. I see a green check mark at the technical inspection status for the brake test of E59 from Dresden.
We also have E90 from Milano also rolling in for another acceleration attempt. And we have E63 coming back to attempt a final run at the skid pad.
And E40 is now on the acceleration track. The car from Eindhoven.
That looked really smooth.
Yeah,
really
smooth
good.
and solid run. Very nice, well done.
The runs don't have to be flashy to be good. And they came in at a 3.97 seconds on their third attempt.
Almost identical
Oh, but
to
now
the
they've
first
stopped.
one.
Can the driver get going again?
And I see on the rear wing of E20, which is I believe Magdeburg, they have checkst du, the German phrase for "Are you checking?" Another team with a nice reference to the country where we are currently holding this this competition. What's your favorite text on the rear wing that you have seen so far?
I have to be honest, my favorite text on the rear wing has to be the creativeness from Tallinn. I really love the never out of control and just removing never when you open. It's such a creative choice and good use of active aero. We have C67 lining up for the skid pad. A lot of wheel spin on the get-go.
Keeping it nice on the inside line without hitting any cones. The team from Warsaw. Now going into the left-handers. For the skid pad, always the second turn is counted. So you make 2 turns on the right, the second of which is counted, and 2 turns on the left, the second of which is counted. And I don't know if I just missed it or if the driver only did one left-hander.
I think he did one left-hander, and
As also now
looks like they lined up on the wrong side of the cones for the starting of the second run.
Ooh, I think I have long-awaited updates for a few guys of you out there. I see E59 lining up for the acceleration and E99 also lining up for the acceleration.
2 teams highly requested so far today.
Yeah, I
about
guess
the
that
status,
will-
so it's really nice to see them finally on track.
Yeah, I guess they will make a lot of people on the stream quite happy, including me.
Also, while we're waiting, do you have any favorite rear wing texts?
I'm always down for bad jokes, so I think still checking is my favorite. Although if I have to go overall, I think one of my favorites overall is from a couple of years back. Marshall's Watch Out. After at one competition, the team had a slight suspension failure, and Marshall had to get his best jumping skills out to avoid the car running at him. And on the next competition, they featured Marshall's Watch Out.
Now we have C67 from Warsaw back on the SKIDPAD. The previous run counted as a DNF. I think they were in fact missing one left turn.
Yeah, this looks nicely done on the technical level, and also he kept it nice on the inside lines. Let's see for the time. And we have a time of combined time of 5.64 seconds for the SKIDPAD of C87. And
67. I think it's C67 or.
Yes, correct. It's 67. And in the meanwhile, we have the Magdeburg car starting the acceleration, but similar to Hamburg, coming to a stop almost immediately.
The queues seem to be lining up as well for both SKIDPAD and acceleration. SKIDPAD looks really crowded, and acceleration we see, I think, 8 cars now lining up.
Yeah, it's getting busy with exactly half an hour left in the session. Typical behavior on Formula student dynamic sessions. You have quite a chill start, and then over time more teams arrive, and it gets more busy. For the teams, but also for the scrutineers. When the scrutineers, which are checking the car before the runs and also after the runs, they don't have any downtime anymore.
Now we also see car number E95 from Chalmers in Sweden lining up, also getting into the queue for acceleration. And another Swedish team, E46, is entering one of the queues. Let's see which one they decide for.
I believe Lund was also requested sometime before on the stream. So a bit later now, we can give you the update that E46 is on the way to SKIDPAD. And E20 could go back under its own power on the acceleration after they came to the stop in the first attempt, and they are given the green flag for the second attempt. Bit of a cautious start, and it looks to be...
They crossed the line.
They crossed the line. I think they were already slowing down before the line. It looks like they had a slight malfunction maybe. They're still rolling, but then, yeah, I think now they've come to a stop right at the end of the straight line. But the driver was able to get the car going again. Yeah, so now the car is going back under its own power.
We also see E8 PRZ Racing running the SKIDPAD. Think they had one cone down, otherwise looked very solid. They had a left time of 6.6 seconds, right time of 6.3 seconds, giving an average of 6.46 seconds. Interesting seeing the right time being the faster one today, and now and slower one a few hours ago. Now E13, TU Berlin running SKIDPAD as well.
And the acceleration truck is really buzzing again. I couldn't see the car number so far. Based on the sound and the looks, it might be Stuttgart. Yeah, it looks like Stuttgart.
TU Berlin completing their SKIDPAD time. Let's wait and see what it is.
And Rennteam Uni Stuttgart with their third attempt at 3.62. Their best run so far, and a very good run overall. And immediately doing the second of the second driver, their fourth and last attempt in total. Going a bit to the left, but still keeping it cleanly within the lines.
For the first run for E13 Fast Tube, we saw a 5.02 seconds as an average time.
And no improvement for Stuttgart on their last acceleration run. 1/100th of a second slower than the previous one. Still very, which was a very respectable 3.62 seconds.
Fast Tube got to a 4.9798 seconds. Really, a lot of teams placing in the higher fours today. Now we see one of the scrutineers being really thorough with the ground clearance, enjoying the nice presence of lying on the asphalt. You see TU Budapest, C82 taking their skid pad. Otherwise, we just had Ugent Racing E51 on the acceleration with a time of 5.2 seconds.
And also E51 from Rent is lining up for the second attempt on acceleration right away.
We see C82 doing this for the love of the game, judging by the rear wing text.
And off they go, finishing the second acceleration attempt. And the second attempt from Ugent Racing was a bit faster than the first one at 5.11 second, while Budapest has done another run of SKIDPAD.
Their time one being 5.25, second being 5.35, seemingly placing them at 5.3 if my math is not way off.
Yes, it's also confirmed by the math on the stream. 5.3 is the time for C82. They did post better times before, and always the best time counts as long as that specific run was valid, with a minor edge case for power violation, which is handled a bit differently. But this should not be a problem on the SKIDPAD. On the acceleration, however, power is a major concern that the scrutineers will look at after the session is done and when they get all the data from the teams.
I have E90 really unstable under braking. Nice acceleration run, however. Coming in at a 3.67 seconds.
That is a very good time.
They still have one more attempt. We have E7, Stuttgart, rolling up for their second skid pad down. Nice to see people in the comments excited for team. looked like a nice solid skid pad with a 5.3 first time and 5.71 time 2. Now we have E90 running again. Looked like a much more controlled stop this time at least. And let's wait for their times.
3.59.
Wow.
It is an improvement. It is the best time for the team. Very well done. And by the way, we can have a quick look at the scoring and how it works in Formula Student. It's not just, or it's not really about the order in which the teams are. You get the points for your time. So even if a lot of teams set times in the 3.4, 3.5 region, and you don't end up in the top 3, you can still get a very good amount of points if you run fast. And E90 has come to a stop on the way back for the post-scrutineering. It looks like the driver can get the car moving again, though.
Meanwhile, E68 just finished the first skid pad with a left time of 5.25, right time of 5.65, placing them at an average of 5.45. Interesting choice here also as well, starting with the left circle first and then the right one. There's no mandated order to take them, and you just have to do both.
No, you need to do the right one first.
Oh, you do?
It's right, left, always. Otherwise, it would not be a valid run, unfortunately, if they took the left one first.
I apologize for spreading misinformation.
C26, a combustion car lining up for their, I believe, third attempt of acceleration.
A lot of wheel spin off the line.
The previous attempt, the best attempt so far, was 4.99 seconds. And this looks to be 4.81. Still an improvement, so let's see what the last attempt would be. So far, they have continuously improved their time.
There are currently 20 minutes left of the session, the morning dynamic session.
And the dynamic area is still buzzing. We still have a lot of cars lined up for the acceleration, for the skid pad as well, I think. We have a good crowd here on site, watching their teams, cheering them on. And we still have a constant flow of teams coming to and from the testing area. So I believe the queues of the events will stay full until the session closes in 19 minutes. With Dresden now lined up for their first acceleration run of the day.
Finally, we get to see 59 drive. This will be fun.
Yeah, that's good to see. Also, I like the flowy livery of that car.
It is indeed really well designed. The temperature has remained pretty cool the entire morning as well. But the drops we had earlier never expanded into more rain. So that's been pretty nice for the teams.
Yeah, so overall the track conditions have been relatively stable, I would say, throughout the day. Temperature-wise, quite stable. The skid pad hasn't dried up as much as one might have expected, especially given that we didn't have a lot of sun. So it's still dry, but the tarmac is not too warm, not too grippy. And I think it has been in a similar state for the full session, which is, I think it's good for the competition because it removes a bit of the luck of when you are driving. there is some delay on the start of the Dresden car, where we see you guys cheering him on in the chat. But now Dresden has been given the green flag, and they have some trouble coming off the line. The car is going. It's not really slowing down, but it's going at a very slow pace, and now the driver has decided to stop it. That's very unfortunate for them.
We see KTH E71 starting their skid pad time.
Dresden is going again, but at the same very low speed, and just for about 5 meters, and has come to a stop again. Now Dresden has found its power.
Wow.
So Dresden basically did half of an acceleration. Let's see about the overall time. It won't be very competitive, but definitely promising what we saw in the end. The car seemed to have some problem.
They came in at an astounding 49 seconds, 49.18 seconds. Now we also saw KTH from Stockholm completing a left circle of 6.54 seconds, right of 7.15 with an average of 6.85 seconds. We just had C26 from EOSI complete their acceleration run with a time of 4.61 seconds. Now we have Dresden back, and they are quick off the line. Quite a lot of wheel spin. Now let's wait for their times as well. Their second attempt being about 10 times faster at 4.69 seconds. Now for Stockholm, their first time, the left time became a 5.69 seconds, and the right 5.47. Now we finally have E99 taking the start for the acceleration. They also started kind of slow, and they've come to a stop. And they're going. They are rolling, and they have completed the final 10 meters really quickly, though.
So the latecomers to the session, Dresden and Aachen, doing a similar performance at the acceleration. And I think the teams from the Aachen team are showing the driver to do the second attempt immediately. Although at the same time, a different car has been pushed to the starting line, which is a bit unusual. I think that's Tallinn, never out of control,
yes.
And now out of control.
Well,
but going in a straight line.
We also saw
nice.
Ignition from Hamburg running their first skid pad time with a 5.7 left and 5.6 right.
And now Aachen is going for the second time. Yes, and this looks like a good acceleration.
This was a much better run.
This was nice.
Tallinn came in at a 3.69 seconds, and Aachen came in at 3.68 seconds.
It's a very tight field along in this region of 3.6 something.
Now we also see something very unusual from the acceleration. There's two cars returning at the same time. Oh.
And there's been some mechanical problem, I would say, on the car on the acceleration from Chalmers.
The driver is hopping out. Something is.
So maybe it's not just electric, not just mechanical.
No.
It sounded like.
Looks like there's
like the front wing coming off and
absolutely
being on the ground, or maybe it was even some suspension failure. Let's see. All the wheels that I can see, they look fine. I don't see anything on the ground, but I definitely heard something scratching on the ground there.
The driver does not look happy. We're just happy he got out safely.
Yeah, what you just saw is a good egress from the driver. They all have to show that they can get out of the car within 5 seconds in case of anything happening to the car, and this was very well executed.
Meanwhile, TU Munich is running SKIDPAD, running a pretty wide right-hander. Deciding to narrow the track a little bit for the little competitive advantage. Chalmers' acceleration time still came in at a 3.85 seconds though, before they sadly had to stop. A too fast second time came in at a 4.9 average. So I don't think we'll be seeing any teams in acceleration within the next few minutes, possibly.
Yeah, we just saw the team members inspecting the front right of the car, which is the one part of the car that we can't see from here. And on our right, we have the test track with some combustion cars moving on. On the left, we have the SKIDPAD with TU Munich with their 4th and final run. Their best run so far is 4.65, was early in the morning.
Their last time coming in at a 4.98, if I'm reading that correctly. Now we have Lund taking the start.
Yeah, it's going in a rapid succession on the SKIDPAD track.
Going quite wide on the first circle. Second one looking very nice and tight.
Yeah, I think the idea for the SKIDPAD as a driver is that you try to get a feel in the first right-hander and the first second-hander, and then try to keep the controls of the car as stable as possible. And get the car into the steady state.
Absolutely. Their left circle coming in at 5.5, right at 5.71, with an average of 5.61. They're running again.
And we have a new car here, Unifirenze C95. We haven't seen them before. They are now queuing for the acceleration.
And Lund just completed their second SKIDPAD time. Let's wait for their times. Improving quite a few positions with a left circle of 5.38, right of 5.48, and an average of 5.43. Really well done. We heard the team celebrating over there.
Yeah, the Chalmers team is still working on the car. It is very unfortunate for the teams in the queue right now that the acceleration track is blocked now with less than 10 minutes in the session. Not something you want to see, a car coming to stop in that kind of way, with some problem of any sorts. Meanwhile, Tallinn is ready to go once the track is clear. They are positioned at the starting line, ready to go.
There's
I
a question.
see AMZ E33 in the queue as well. C21.
There was also a question in chat about how long combustion will be present at Czech. I don't have a clear answer there. Off my heart, I'd say as long as there's a competition there, but only time will tell.
I don't have any information on this. We just received a bit of information on the Chalmers car E95. Both push rods failed. So indeed a mechanical problem in the suspension, and the car will have to be put on rollerboards, I guess, and then be pushed back. So it will be very tight for the acceleration queue.
Now we had Zwickau as well completing a run with a left time of 5.11 and a right time of 4.88, placing them at 5 seconds.
And doing their fourth run immediately after.
Looking very solid. We hear the team clapping. Their second time coming in at 4.85. Their fastest time so far being a 4.69. We also see Chalmers moving their car off track now. Yeah, you see the front. Oh, and we also have Johan on the SKIDPAD already. Narrowing the track a little bit.
But as long as the cone stays upright and in the box, you're fine. You can do that. But those cones were definitely not in the box anymore. They were flying around somewhere else, being picked up by the track marshals to repair the track as soon as possible, to not have the car weight as much any more than is necessary. And they go again. So what happens now with the Chalmers car once it has been removed from the track? What will they have to do now?
They'll have to tow or carry their car back. I don't know if it's in any state to be pushed. No, you see them trying to keep the front off the ground. Really struggling. So they now have to get back to their paddock and start fix their push rods. Was it a fastener? Was it a? Do you know what broke? Did it snap or the push rod?
I think it just snapped somewhere on the acceleration track. It looked like a normal run. I didn't see anything peculiar about that. But then towards the end of the 75 meters, there suddenly was a very loud scratching noise, and yeah, we can see now here in the view that the front wing is on the ground.
So I think suspension guys will be really upset, but I don't think the aero guys will be any happier with the front wing either.
No one will be happy about this, I would say. It's might be a big setback for the team, depending on what actually broke. If they get lucky, it might be an easy fix to just exchange a few suspension rods. They will have to figure that out during lunch, and then they will make their plans on how they might still be competing in the afternoon session. We have seen a lot of really quick and heroic repairs in Formula Student in past seasons.
We saw the Revolve driver a little bit confused about which way to go into the next circle. Taking a few cones as well, narrowing the track quite well.
And we are moving again also on the acceleration. Tallinn has completed the run. The Chalmers car is off the track for now, standing somewhere at the end of the track from our point of view.
We now also have ETH Zurich getting ready for their third run, I believe. Weaving a little bit at the start, otherwise very, like, no wheel spin. Good traction. And E63 running their second skid pad. Zurich placing in at 3.55 on acceleration on their third attempt. You see E63 running a little bump there that affected the traction. Otherwise, way more solid second run for that driver. Now we hear one of the combustion cars, C21, really taking off for the acceleration here.
And we really have a high frequency of cars on both tracks. Now again also on the acceleration track, because the marshals really try to get as many cars through as they can within the time limits of the session, which will be strictly enforced as soon as we hear the signal in about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. No cars will be allowed to run if they haven't started to run already.
We saw the E63 second time coming in at an average of 5 seconds, I believe. My math could be way off.
A little bit of a starting problem for the AMZ car. Before the start, the car shut down the tractor system, but the driver was able to turn it back on. So that's no problem at all.
The second time at a 3.53. Now we have Eindhoven as well on the skid pad.
Yeah, 3.53. That's a decent time. That's a very, very good time.
It's very good.
Puts them quite high in the ranking. Might be the third fastest team with the information from the live
I believe
timing.
third fastest. There could be one or two more teams who gets to run. Otherwise, C21 as well in acceleration came in with a 4.96 seconds. And where did Eindhoven do? Let's wait and see.
So TU Eindhoven is still running on the skid pad. The acceleration track, there's nothing happening. They're still preparing the cars.
And there you heard the signal being given. The session, no more cars will be given the green flag, and the session is done.
The Eindhoven guys being very happy with the performance of their car. We can hear them cheering from here. So this would be the last car running in this morning session. Later on the afternoon, we will have the autocross with a lot of action happening. Really looking forward to that. So this will be an interesting stream to watch. Stay tuned. But for the morning, all the dynamic action has conceded now. The teams are pushing their cars back to the pit to prepare them for the next sessions. And we will continue with our afternoon session then at 1:30.
We would like to thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a very action-filled morning.
Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of drama, and a bit of heartbreak, especially for Chalmers now. Everything that you expect to have in Formula Student. So best of luck for the team for the afternoon session. Get your cars ready, get your drivers ready, and have a nice lunch. So that's it for the stream today. We had an action-packed session in the morning for SKIDPAD and acceleration. Tune in again for the afternoon session for the autocross. Thank you so much for watching. It will be an exciting afternoon again, and we'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching.
And thank you so much for the energy in the comments as well. We really appreciated the questions. See you guys later.